The morning they left, my mother checked her carry-on twice, verified her passport, and reminded my father to confirm the Uber. She did not check on me. I was 11 years old, standing at the top of the stairs in socked feet, watching them move through the front hallway with the brisk efficiency of people running late for something important. My mother, Sylvia, wore a cream linen blazer and had her hair pinned up the way she only did when she wanted to be photographed. My father, Owen, said almost nothing, which was not unusual. He existed in our house the way furniture exists: present, functional, easy to overlook. Before she walked out, my mother set two things on the kitchen table: a folded pair of $10 bills and a silver credit card, still sealed in a small paper sleeve. $20 for the month, she said. The card is for emergencies only. Don't be reckless with it. Then she wheeled her suitcase through the door, and my father followed, and the lock clicked behind them. I stood at the window and watched the rideshare pull away from the curb. I waited 5 minutes, the way you wait after a noise in the dark, to be certain they didn't come back. We lived in a beige colonial on a cul-de-sac in a suburb of Columbus, Ohio. The lawn was edged every 2 weeks by a service my mother paid for, but liked to imply she managed herself. She had nearly 9,000 followers on a lifestyle account where she posted Sunday dinners, seasonal table settings, and photos with captions like, "So grateful for this little life." If you scrolled far enough back, you'd find photos of me, toddler age, useful for the aesthetic. By the time I was 8 or 9, I'd been quietly edited out. She said I didn't like being photographed. I'd learned not to argue with her narration of my own preferences. My father worked long hours in municipal contracting. He came home tired, ate what was on the table, and treated silence like a courtesy he was extending to everyone. He was not unkind. He was simply absent in a way that had nothing to do with geography. I'd been making my own breakfast since second grade. I signed my own field trip forms. I was, as my mother liked to tell company, remarkably self-sufficient for her age. She said it with the mild pride of someone describing a low-maintenance houseplant. I thought this was ordinary. I thought every child learned early to take up as little space as possible, to be grateful for attention rather than expect it. I did not yet understand that I was being prepared very efficiently to be left. 2 weeks before their departure, my mother called me to the living room and told me about Europe, the way someone announces a schedule change. Paris, then Rome, then a Greek island whose name she mispronounced. 1 month. "You're old enough to manage," she said. "You've been doing it half your life already." My father stood by the sliding door to the backyard, his back to both of us. I asked who would stay with me. She looked at me the way she looked at autocorrect errors. Brief irritation quickly suppressed. "No one," she said. "You know how to take care of yourself. That's the whole point." The credit card, I would discover 3 days into their absence, had never been activated. I found this out standing at a gas station register with a bottle of juice and a can of soup, listening to the cashier's flat voice. I put the juice back. I kept the soup. $20, 30 days. I did the arithmetic walking home. 66 cents per day, rounded up. I went to the grocery store and stood in the dry goods aisle with a calculator app open, moving my lips. 6 packs of instant ramen, a loaf of white bread, a jar of peanut butter. I carried the bag home in both arms and rationed with a seriousness that, looking back, should have broken my own heart. Half a pack of noodles in the morning, half at night. I drank water between meals so my stomach had something to process. On day 5, I called her. I could hear music behind her voice, something European and ambient. "Mom, the card doesn't work. I don't have money for food." She exhaled slowly, the particular exhale that always preceded a sigh. "You're being dramatic, Vera. $20 is plenty if you're not wasteful." She hung up. That night, I opened her social account. New post: my mother at a candlelit restaurant, a small plate of something intricate in front of her, laughing at something off camera. "La Dolce Vita," the caption read. I got the old tablet from my desk drawer, opened the camera, and pressed record. "Today is day 5, I said. My voice was steadier than I felt. Mom posted from a 3-star restaurant. I ate half a pack of ramen. I kept going. My neighbor, Mr. Desmond Fife, was 72 and had lived in the yellow house beside ours since before my parents bought theirs. He walked with a slight limp and kept a cat named something I could never quite catch. He noticed the empty driveway on day 7, knocked on my door with the careful knock of someone who already suspected the answer. I wanted to say everything was fine. I was pale, and my lips were dry, and I hadn't slept well in a week, and he was looking at me with the patient attention of someone who had seen things before. "Would you like to come over for dinner?" he said. I made too much. We both understood he had not. I ate spaghetti at his kitchen table that night and told him the truth because I was too depleted to construct a lie. He listened without interrupting. Afterward, he sat back and said quietly, "I won't call anyone yet, but I'm going to bring you something every day, and you should keep writing things down. A record, everything, dates and details." He paused. "Evidence is the thing that gets believed." Summer in Richmond had started the second week. My mother had enrolled me months earlier, not, I knew, because she valued the coursework, but because a child in a structured program. By day 3, I nearly collapsed during a math exercise. I woke up on the cot in the nurse's office with a woman I didn't know looking at my face. She put me on a scale. She asked when the last time I had eaten. She asked where my parents were. Miss Aldrich, my teacher, was present when the nurse and I spoke. Neither of them said the words I was afraid of, but they exchanged a look I recognized as one adults use when they've decided something. "I see you," Miss Aldrich said simply, after everyone else had stepped out. "That's all. I just want you to know that." I hadn't cried in 2 weeks. I did not cry then either, but something in my chest loosened slightly, like a knot that had been pulled too tight. My mother called that evening. I heard the school contacted someone. "What exactly did you say?" I told her. "I hadn't said anything." "You're embarrassing this family," she said, voice dropping to the register she used when she wanted to be taken seriously. "If you breathe one word to anyone, a teacher, a neighbor, anyone, I will put you in boarding school when I get home. You will not be living here. Do you understand me?" I said yes. I hung up. My hands were shaking. I opened the tablet and pressed record. I said what had just happened. I said it plainly, without performance, the way you state facts you need to remember. I documented 22 consecutive videos, footage of the refrigerator, footage of the bathroom scale, receipts from the grocery store, dated, journal entries. I read her threatening voicemail transcription into the camera, word by word. Miss Yan, the caseworker assigned after the school filed a report, arrived on day 22. She moved through the house with quiet efficiency, opened the refrigerator, looked at the trash, then turned to me. "Do you have anything you'd like to show me?" I brought her the tablet. She watched without speaking. When the last video ended, she said, "You're very careful, Vera. This matters." Then she asked the question no adult had asked me directly before. "Do you want to be safe?" I said yes, out loud, for the first time. The legal picture that assembled itself over the following days was detailed and unambiguous. 22 videos, a school medical report documenting 9 pounds of weight loss in 2 weeks, financial records obtained by subpoena. My parents had spent just under $44,000 in 30 days. The credit card left for me had been requested but never activated. This was not oversight. The account notes confirmed the card had been flagged and set aside before their departure. My mother had planned a welcome home party for 38 guests. There was a catered spread, a slide projection of their trip photos, and a banner above the front window. She was mid-conversation, holding a glass of something sparkling, when the doorbell rang. She opened it with a smile already arranged on her face. Miss Yan stood on the porch with 2 officers behind her. Someone in the living room said, "Oh," 1 syllable, nothing else. The music kept playing for a moment before someone cut it. My mother turned to her guests. She said it was a misunderstanding. She said I was imaginative. She said I had a history of exaggerating. Miss Yan opened a folder and read from it without inflection. No caregiver had checked on the property in 30 days. The supplementary card had been deliberately left inactive. She had spent $44,000. No one in the room spoke. No one moved to offer my mother a defense. The officers walked both my parents out. My mother paused at the door and looked back at the banner. She and my father accepted a plea agreement, probation, community service hours, a felony record. The family court judge terminated their parental rights at the same hearing, reading from her decision in a voice that had no particular drama in it. My mother's sister, Nora, had already submitted guardianship paperwork. The court approved it that morning. Aunt Nora lived in a two-bedroom apartment with mismatched dishes and a secondhand couch with a throw blanket draped over the orn arm. It was the most comfortable place I had ever lived. She came to my school events and wrote them on the kitchen calendar in red pen. She sat across from me at dinner and asked follow-up questions. I kept waiting for her patience to expire. It didn't. I'm 18 now. I start college in the fall. A full merit scholarship. Pre-law. I found 2 letters in my desk last week, both from my mother, forwarded through the court. She said she was in therapy. She said she understood what she had done. She said she was proud of me, and then, to her credit, acknowledged she had no standing to be. I read both letters in full. I put them back in their envelopes. I haven't written back. I'm not sure whether I will, but the decision is mine, which is something that took me years to understand I was allowed to have. She left me with $20 and a card she knew wouldn't work. She calculated that love and obedience would be enough to keep me quiet. She was wrong about all of it. Have you ever been told in 100 small ways that your silence was the price of belonging? That speaking up would cost you more than suffering quietly? I'd like to ask you what you did with that, because some of us learn slowly, and at considerable cost, that silence only ever protects the people it benefits. Not you. Never you.